Hello, hello, everyone. Happy Thursday. It is another episode of Thursday Talks with the Costales team. It is the week before Christmas. I'm so excited. It is cold. It is 30, 40 degrees now in the Bay Area. And so this is not a robe. This is not a Snuggie. Mark makes fun of me because he comes home and I'm wearing my fur coat at home, and the kids said, "What are you doing? Why are you wearing the fur coat?" And I think I have Mark, who's going to be joining us from his Mark Costales, Your Realtor Instagram account. Hi, Raquel. Hi, Paul. Hi, everyone that's joining us. We've been getting kind of weird internet signal. Just want to make sure you guys can hear me. So drop a comment or an emoji. Let me know if you guys can hear me, and where you're coming to watch us from, I guess, or where you're coming from. Hi, Indie Sky Homes. Um, and so, yes, if you're just joining us right now, I am wearing my fur coat at home, and Mark makes fun of me. But today we are talking about how to overcome some challenges when you need to buy a home. And so, hey, Mark, how's it going?
I'm trying new filters, but they're not working.
Mm,
What's up, buddy?
you look like fog.
It looks foggy.
Yes. So today's topic is overcoming the biggest challenges when having to sell a home in order to buy a home. So, we could talk about selling first, from the perspective of someone who's maybe on the fence or thinking about selling a home, or they want to buy a home, but they need to sell a home first. What are, how would you even sell a home or buy a home at the same time? Or would you do one before the other? Would you buy first? Would you sell after? Would you sell first and buy after? Have you seen it done a variety of ways, or is there just one way?
There's definitely not one way to do it. I mean, there's for sure you can buy your home. You could sell your home contingent on you finding one. You can purchase a home. If you have the ability to buy a home without selling it, you can also do that as well. There's just many different variations. It really just depends on how you and whoever you're with, your family, whatever the goal is, in order for you to accomplish that goal, right? It really depends. Every single person we've helped in these situations tackled it in different areas, right? We had a family, I remember a family that we were helping, and they needed to find a home, and they couldn't find a home because the area that they were looking at, they were very specific on the neighborhood they were looking at. And we didn't have it contingent on them finding a home because we got such a great offer on the home. We were like, we can't pass this up. So we were able to sell their house for a really, really good price. And we weren't able to find a home at the time. So they were able to get a small rental, and we were able to find them a home, and they were able to move in. So it just really depends. We've helped, this whole situation, we've helped them and many people in different situations. That's just one of them, for my example. So, what about you, Trent?
Yeah, ideally, right? Most people that want to buy a home will need the proceeds
Hmm.
from the sale of their home, so they'll need to sell first before they can buy a home. Um, But then again, you are left with that caveat, like you said, you sell the home, but then where are you going to go? And you can't buy until you sell. So as soon as you sell and you have that money in hand, it's like usually you have to be out, right? So some of the options we've talked about with our clients who need to sell in order to buy is maybe getting a rent back. So that way they sold their home, but they can still stay in that home and keep possession of that home, and they're either renting back to the new buyers who are the new owners temporarily until they find their replacement home, or there's a set amount of time. Sometimes the rent back is at zero cost to the seller. Sometimes the seller's paying, and it's almost like it's a tenancy that's created now that the seller is renting to the new buyer. I mean, a lot of different situations, right? That we've helped people sometimes go very seamlessly in it. The stars aligned perfectly, and they literally went from selling their home and moving into the next home. And, oh, Mark dropped off. I don't know where he went, but I guess I'm just talking to myself now. But yes, I mean, just completing that thought that I was saying is yes, we've helped people sell their home and then buy and just move very seamlessly into their next home, right? But like Mark said, there are some situations where maybe the seller wants to get out of there and would prefer to move into like a short-term rental, or they can move in with a family, um, or you know, you could sell contingent on finding a replacement home, like Mark said. So I think Mark is joining us again. What's going on?
I have no idea. I'm like right by my router too. I don't know why it just cut me out.
Okay,
That was weird. Is
filter blurry, or maybe it's the light behind you.
that better?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's the light. It's probably the lighting.
Yeah, it's probably the lighting. Yeah, I heard you. I know you're in the other room and I could hear you. But let's talk about some challenges
Okay.
because that's a challenge, right? That they're not able to find a home in a specific neighborhood that they're looking at, right? And they have their heart set on it because schools, right? That is definitely a hardship to get by.
Or sometimes they don't want to buy right away, right? Especially if they're getting to another area. They want to kind of get a feel for the neighborhood, check out some different neighborhoods before they commit to buying in that area, you know?
Yeah, I mean that's I think the number one problem or at least the number one worry is that they're not able to find a home in the time that they're selling the place, right? Because of course, every single person, right, like you said, as long as everything aligns, right, they sell their house, they get a house, and they can just make one move. But sometimes that's not the case, right? That is a huge problem to have, right? And we've had clients that we sold their house way too quickly, right? And that we always have a plan A, B, and C, because in essence, one of those three solutions is going to come into play. One, you don't find a place. You can do one of two things. You can get a short-term rental, or because you got to understand when you're selling your home and you need to buy another one, right? If you're planning to purchase another home, like literally after or while you're selling your home, you want to make sure that you have the money to do so. Two, you're already researching which areas you want to move because not everybody is knows exactly where they're going, right? So I mean, again, you got to have a plan. So when we have these discovery calls, when we sit down with these sellers, we talk about how where are you guys planning to go? If you guys aren't planning to buy immediately, like what areas are you looking at, right? Because again, sometimes these some of these clients they aren't moving to areas that we cover. Sometimes it's out of state, right? So, I mean, we had one client, we sold their place in Vacaville, right, Joraine? And then they had all this money. They went to go rent in Arizona just so they could check out which areas they want, right? And that's perfectly fine because again, and we knew people out there that could help them purchase a home. So it's a matter of time, right? They could fill a place out, whether it be 6 months to a year or even shorter, right? They just figure out where they want to be, and what neighborhoods they want to be in, and that way they're researching it usually during their sell of their home, and then usually after. So,
And
um,
I had some clients, right, that went very quickly from one home that they sold, and then it's like we closed on Friday, the moving truck was scheduled for Saturday, they were in Texas on Sunday, and their new home was ready, you
yep,
know, on Monday or what, right? Like very, and they got the keys to their new home, like just very fluid um in those timelines. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of hard to predict because no one knows the future. People ask all the time, like, "Oh, how can I sell one home or buy when I still have to sell my home?" Like, there's so many different ways. I've been having so many conversations with people. Yesterday, we met with a seller. Today, I was talking to another agent, and there's so many ways to do anything in real estate. To do everything, really. There's not just one way to run a business. There's not just one way to sell a home. there's not just one way to buy a home. You know, every agent will probably have a different strategy. Some agents will probably have less experience and less strategies. Some agents will have more strategies and more experience. And yeah, I'm really learning this year that, I mean, we've always known that there's so many different ways to do things. You know, we always try to be very innovative and strategic and very tactical with our strategies and our plan when we're talking to clients. But yeah, I mean, just been I've been feeling that theme for the week with the people that I've been talking to. It's like there's not just one way to do things, you know.
Yeah, and as long as you got that experience under your belt, that's why it's also very it's very you need to have those experience, right? And not to like bag on any new agents or they haven't experienced any of those things, right? I mean, I think it's good for you to kind of know, what you're talking about, right? Because you imagine a new agent, right, getting new on a block and they get, little Timmy to want to sell their house and it's like, does Timmy know how to sell a house and buy one at the same time? Does he know that it's even possible, right? Or does he have to say, oh, you know what? Actually, I can't do that right now. I can help you buy though, or I can help you sell one at a time, right? If these you got to understand, these homeowners may or may not know what what they can and can't do, right? I mean, what if little Timmy wants to sell their place and it's under 2 years? What does that mean, right? Do they know what that means? Does anybody know what the 2-year mark is after buying a home? I don't know. Do you guys know? Right? I mean, I do know, but I'm not gonna tell you guys the answers. You swear this stuff is free. Anyways, no, but I mean, it's like you got to be able to know, right? And I was able to experience it sometimes, not even being an agent. Like I was before I even joined Joraine's team. I like shadowed her, and I kind of took her for granted because I was like, I'm not gonna learn anything from her. She's just my wife. But I got to learn so much more and got to see like the day to day of like literally living with somebody that lives and breeds real estate. So I kind of had, all that information at the back of my, my tool belt of real estate, right? And I was able to take those experiences, and say, hey, you know what, we can do this and do that, and learn about this and do that, right? There's, like I said, there's many different things. You got to be able to be flexible, and with the experience that we have, it just seems like it just almost comes naturally. Oh, we can do it whichever way. It's totally up to you. It's not up to me because if I were to sell it, we just sell it the way that it is, and let's just kind of move on. But it really just depends on the homeowner and the client that is looking to buy or sell, or both. So,
So, I mean, how can you ensure, you know, a home sells quickly to align with the buying timeline? Like if someone says, you know, I want to move, I want to be in Texas by summer, you know, how do you time that?
well, I mean, it definitely talks about we gotta definitely talk about not missing the spring market. Statistically, the spring market is probably the busiest, right? If they want to be in Texas by that time, I think we got to start having a conversation like now, putting together a calendar, putting together what the timelines are. Because the one thing you don't want to do is get there around April, when the spring market starts, and then all these problems start aligning, right? You start getting these road bumps in the road that you're kind of just like, oh my gosh, I can't do that. And all of a sudden, you're like in summer and you haven't even put your house on the market yet, and your timeline is completely off. So that's why it's good to sit down, talk about what your overall plan is, how we're going to get there, what steps we're going to take in order for these milestones to be hit, right? And then as soon as time gets hit, we got to start putting the pressure on. Because if your goal, again, mind you, as we go through these strategies and then these discovery calls, right? We're in constant contact with the client because things could change in a matter of a phone call, right? What if for some reason registration starts early and they need to know where the kids are going to be going to school? Like that is very important because if you're moving your kids and uprooting them from a completely different state, that's huge, right? So you want to make sure that the plan that they develop is something that they came up with and they're completely aligned with, right? Because if you develop a plan for your client and you have no idea what's going on with what they want to do and and all you know is where they want to go and what they want to do here, you got to know all the in-betweens because that in itself is the motivation for them to move. Because let's say they just give you the information, I just want to be in Texas by by summer. Okay, cool. I can get you a plane ticket and we can get you there, set a date, and that's when your flight will be booked. Job done. But how are we going to take the time to get there? And that's where it's important. So, um, having a plan, A, B, and C. That's what I say.
Hmm. And how do you compete as a buyer when your funds are tied up in your current home?
How do you compete as a buyer when you're, well, you can always have your home being sold contingent on you finding a property. That again, knowing all this information is very, very key. There's also programs out there that I could actually give you the money um, to actually pay for your buy your home while your home is either in escrow or it's still on the market, right? So it's almost like a delayed sale, right? So there's programs out there. You got to talk with the lender, but that's also an option too. You can, there are programs out there that the lenders will be able to, determine. And again, don't quote me. I'm not a lender, but I know that there are programs out there that you're able to, if your home is on the market, they determine how much, net equity you're going to be getting from the home, and kind of make a almost get a loan based on what you are going to be getting, and then kind of go from there. So, does that answer your question,
Yeah,
Joraine?
yeah, yeah. It was a question that someone had sent, so I'm just kind of reading some of the questions. Um, how can working with the right real estate team make this process easier? I feel like you've already answered that, like just having the resources available, because not all real estate agents know the different ways that you can sell and buy a home simultaneously. Not
Yeah.
all real estate agents have the resources or the lender connections that can offer what you just mentioned, whether it's like a bridge loan or some kind of program that will allow them to buy first and sell later and either take money out of their current home or get a loan against it, and then pay it back later when the home sells. And so one of the questions was, how can working with the right real estate team make this process easier? I mean, I think you kind of just answered that right there, right? Like the resources, the knowledge, the experience.
The
um,
connections too, because I mean, imagine, like, let's just say that let's take that same situation where the person's moving to Texas. Like, what part of Texas, right? I mean, we have realtor connections that we actually personally know that we could connect you with out there in these areas, and we're not just going to dump you off. Like, we're going to talk to this agent, make sure that they're able to take somebody on, right? So we're going to go through the process, right? So again, a local agent, right, could be, let's just say they're wanting to move out of Tracy. Let's just say that person's threshold is literally maybe just California, and they don't have a connection that is going to be in Texas, right? That in itself is a team that you want, because like, what are you going to do? Let Timmy sell your home when, one, he doesn't have the resources, two, he doesn't have the connections, and three, he doesn't know the processes, right? So, I mean, again, it's great keeping the money within the family, and I think that's perfectly fine. But you also still, at least for me and like our business, I like to earn the business. I don't want anybody giving me a no gimmies, right? Just because we hung out once and we had a great time doesn't mean that that's automatically you know you should definitely work with me. I mean, I'll definitely want to be able to earn that business. But I mean, again, like comparing to what our experience is versus like a newer agent, they may or may not even have those connections, those resources. They may not even know what the strategies are. So I mean, again, nothing to bag on new agents. If you know a new agent that is very knowledgeable, that's perfectly fine too, as long as they have the connections. And that's why it's important for these buyers and sellers to know who they're working with, right? So if I'm selling a home and I'm going to move to wherever part of the world, I would want to ask that agent, so do you know anybody in Idaho? Like, yeah, I got somebody in Idaho for you.
yeah.
Like, how do you have that person
Yeah.
in Idaho?
Can you share a success story navigated this challenge smoothly?
Yeah, I'm,
I mean, I know you have many. I know we have
let me see.
many, but
I
is
I
that
could think of it. That
out?
one. The one most recently happened. We had a client that we helped them sell their home here, and mind you, this client of ours, it's Joraine has like really nice friends, so this is somebody that she went to high school with, right? And help them move their family, sell their family a home in Pittsburgh, Antioch, and then they wanted to move to Texas. So I connected them with somebody that I know personally. I actually played poker, and we share a commonality with that, right? Same brokerage, but it doesn't have to be the same brokerage. But I met a connection there over there with him. Um, had told him like, hey, I got somebody over there if you need it, and connected with them. They were able to buy their new build back in Texas, right? And then they wanted to move back to California because Texas is not great, and California is still the place to be. And then they moved back within the same year, right? And we were again able to help them, move back, here to the Bay Area. But again, working with the same team, they already had a lender. I was able to work with their lender, had some questions about their lender, but was able to still get them what they wanted, which is one, selling their home, check. Finding a person and getting a new build in a new place that they're going, check. Move them right back to California using, us helping them, check. I mean, it checked all the boxes, and of course, they're always going to come back to the people that they trust, right? So
Yeah.
that's one story that I have right now in my mind that I could think of.
I don't see any other questions. So do you have any other closing thoughts about this before we wrap? We have a few minutes
Well,
left. I mean,
well,
do you
what would you say to somebody right now if they were looking to, purchase a home? I mean, I'm sorry, sell a home now and then buy one. Like, what would be your, 30-second pitch to them?
what do you mean? Sorry, can you repeat the question?
So if you had a if there's somebody out there right now and you're talking to them to this camera, and you were to pitch yourself and our team, like what would that 30-second like pitch look like or sound like?
For someone that wants to sell a
And
home,
purchase a home in a different state.
oh, I mean, that's easy. I mean, we have worldwide connections and a large agent network. It's very vast. So we can connect them with an agent that can help them set up, help them make the transition very smooth and seamless because we're all working together as a team to make sure that the home sale here is working in conjunction and makes sense and fits the time of their move for the purchase and the home that they want to buy in wherever neighborhood, wherever state that they're moving to. So, I mean, I feel like that's definitely something that we offer and we bring to the table. And of course, we always try to help and do everything in our power to help our sellers sell for the highest price in the shortest amount of time. So, when it comes to marketing, negotiation, contracts, the team, I mean, we do that all day, every day, and can negotiate and get home sold in our sleep, right? Even when in other countries traveling, our team here has been able to help and we still do what we do. And so I think it's because we have such a great team, very high standards. We're all about compliance. We have innovative tactics and strategies and things that we use. I always tell people our marketing plan is unparalleled. And so, I mean, if anyone can get it done, we will do anything and everything that we can to get it done, right? And help meet their timeline and help them meet their goal of selling their home here and being wherever they want to be by a certain time. So, I don't know if that was 30 seconds.
That was heck along.
I know, and I could go all day because I feel like we bring a lot of value and we have a lot to offer. We have a lot of experience and we're backed by, a great brokerage and team and just a support of people with our clients. They interact with our assistants, our marketing person, our transaction coordinator. Everyone has their job that they are responsible for, and everyone does an amazing job at it. So that's
But it won't do it. I don't know.
sorry, you're cutting out. I think Wi-Fi. I didn't hear what you
Oh,
said.
there it is. I'm trying to get my thumbs up, and there it is. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So,
All right. Well,
alrighty.
thanks for being on here.
Bye.
See you next. Bye. Merry Christmas.